I'm going to share with you the pet peeves that drive me bananas. Bananas, bananas. Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Story Lesson Advice Podcast, part of Saturday is Datterday Media, life advice podcast, book review podcast, unboxing review video series, cooking videos, and more, all in due time. I am Justin, the host. Thank you very much for listening. We're going to get right into this, and I'm going to give you a list of my top pet peeves, stuff that grinds my gears, as Peter Griffin would say. Number one. Totally unreasonable pet peeve of mine is when I go into a public bathroom that is in a location that is not busy. So I'm not talking about like going into a bathroom at like a football game or a basketball game or something like that. I'm talking about when you're at Kohl's on a Saturday afternoon with the family and there's 11 people in the store and I need to go to the bathroom and I go in there and it's empty. And all of a sudden, by the time I'm halfway done going to the bathroom, there is enough men in the bathroom to fill a basketball team. That just drives me nuts because I'm like, where the shit did everybody come from? Like, this is ridiculous. And that is something that frustrates me beyond belief. And I get out and like, I need to go tell my wife what happened. She doesn't care. But it's just something that grinds my gears. It's a crazy pet peeve of mine and it just drives me absolutely wild. Get out of the bathroom. There's no one in this store. You don't need to be in the bathroom. I need to be in the bathroom. That's it. Get out of here. Going along the lines with somebody in my space that needs to get the hell out is when anybody else is in the kitchen when I'm in the kitchen cooking. And right now we have a unique living situation where in our house, it's me and my wife and our daughter. And then also my mom, grandma, lives with us for the moment. So I have an unreasonable expectation that if I'm in the kitchen, no one else is allowed to be in the kitchen. But it is all far too common where I will be in the kitchen doing something and then I'll think to myself, oh, I need to go to the refrigerator because I need to grab whatever out of the refrigerator. And as soon as I go to make that step, it seems like the entire neighborhood is now standing in front of my refrigerator. Just the whole neighborhood. Come on over, get in, stand around here, crowd the way. And that's what ends up happening. And okay, well, I won't do that. I'll decide to go to the pantry instead. Oh, just kidding. Everybody in the family and everybody in the house decides to go have a party in the pantry. Everybody needs to get whatever it is. They've had all day in the house. We've been home. All of us have been home for an hour and a half. But for whatever reason, the second I'm in there, everybody's just right in my breadbasket. So again, an unreasonable expectation. I don't know if you feel the same way, but get the F out of the kitchen if I'm in there. I'll keep with the home theme for a minute. And this is something I give my wife a hard time about all the time. And I'm just joking with it. But everybody knows the iPhone trick. If you have a watch, you can hit the button if you don't know where your phone is. And it makes, an appropriate noise, which is the most annoying and loudest noise in the world. To help you find where your lost phone is. So that's useful if it's in the other room or it's upstairs or downstairs or whatever, you need to hit the thing. So oftentimes my wife, she is preoccupied by her daughter, which is wonderful, or we're playing all of us or whatever, and she'll need to grab her phone and check something and it's not on her because she doesn't want it to fall and break on the ground or whatever. And she'll hit the thing and it just drives me nuts because so often it's near where I am and none of us realize it because none of us remember where the phone is. And then I just get jolted awake by that ding, 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 ding thing. And like I have nightmares or just cold sweats at 3 a.m. waking up with this thing. So if anybody does that out in public, like, man, I just go into like Rambo mode. I'm just like looking around like what is happening. I'm going to go tackle that person that's doing that. So if you have an iPhone and you don't know where it is and you have your watch, just forget about it. Just go buy a new phone. Don't push the button. Don't do that. Thank you. When we're out in public, holy shit, this one kills me. Stop wearing sunglasses indoors. Period. Now, I will make an exception as the arbiter of all these things. I will make an exception if anybody has a medical condition. Totally understand that. If you have a sensitivity to light and you need to wear sunglasses indoors or something, not talking about that. I'm talking about everybody else. You look like a schmuck. Stop wearing sunglasses inside of Target. Stop wearing sunglasses when you're strutting around DSW trying to buy a $24 pair of sneakers. Stop it. I cannot tell you how many times this happens. So bad that in our daughter's 5-year-old basketball league that takes place on Saturday inside of an abandoned church gym where there's, the kids and their parents in attendance and maybe a couple grandparents, and that's it. There's a couple of dudes and dudettes that keep the shades on the whole time. And I don't know who they're trying to impress, but stop it. Unless you're a famous movie star or a famous athlete, stop it. End of story. Also, talking about being out in public. If you are good enough and kind enough to take your sunglasses off when you go into the store, then you must also not talk on speakerphone when you're in the store. That drives me nuts. I don't know why people still do that. Now, I understand not everybody has headphones or AirPods or whatever, and they might need to, look at something and have their, use their hands to grab a product or whatever, and they're talking to somebody at home or whatever. Okay, I get that. I'm talking about the people that are just schlepping around the stores that are just talking on their speakerphone, or they're on FaceTime with somebody and they're just talking and there's no earbuds and you can hear everything and it just sounds like a crackling mess. So this is my first and last warning, or you will receive a full disadulation. Stop talking on speakerphone in public. Stop it. Another totally unreasonable pet peeve of mine has to deal with supply and demand. And it absolutely drives me nuts at my advanced age now, of 43, that I still have to deal with supply and demand. And I'm not trying to sound entitled about if I want to buy something, I want to buy something. But what I am saying is, if I want to buy something, I just want to buy something. And this is so apparent and so evident in a couple of scenarios for me. One of them is I like bourbon, right? I'm not crazy about it, but I like bourbon and I enjoy drinking it, and I have, 1 to 3 bottles around the house. Some people are big-time collectors and all that, and that's awesome. Good on you. One of the most frustrating things, and it's better now that I live in Arizona than it was in Texas, but is going into a liquor store, and I'm just looking for one of the bottles of bourbon that is well-known, but, not some crazy rare bottle or anything, and they don't have it. Or you have to get on a list, and then you have to get in a raffle, and then maybe you can buy it. And I think that's so weird because with wine, for example, if you want to go buy a nice bottle of wine, pretty much any bottle you want, you can just walk into a grocery store or a Total Wine or a liquor store and they'll have it. Now, you might pay for it and you might pay through the nose on it, but if you want that particular bottle of wine, you can get it. And with bourbon, it is the absolute opposite. And that just pisses me off because it's who invented this? I'm not going to go chase around multiple liquor stores around a Metroplex to try to find this one bottle. I just want to go in, here's my $30, just let me walk out with the bottle that I want. So that drives me nuts. And another thing, and I understand why they have the supply and demand and they keep the mystery, and it's I don't care. I'm not doing this because it's cool to buy it. I like it, so I just want to get it. Same thing with Air Jordans. I totally get the economy. And my wife is rolling her eyes now because why is a man my age wearing Air Jordans? I'll tell you why, because they're flipping awesome. But it's also very difficult to find a lot of them. And I totally get that because you have to keep that rare rare vibe about the shoes that they're coveted, and you have to search for them. At the same time, it's it would just be nice to be able to say, okay, you know what? I've saved up for 6 months and I'm going to go do this, or it's going to be a Christmas gift or whatever, as opposed to having to scour the internet or pay triple the price or something like that. Just, it kills me. And then smaller stuff, like going to a grocery store and they're out of things. I get that happens once in a while, but you're not allowed to be out of lemons, okay, as a grocery store. Sorry. You're not allowed to not have milk. So figure it out. Unreasonable pet peeve. That's another one for me. Another unreasonable pet peeve for me is when it's everyone's first day at the airport and this seems to be every time I travel, and I used to travel a lot for work, and now I don't anymore. And my wife used to travel a lot for work, and she doesn't anymore. But that's something that you see all the time. It just happens. But it drives me nuts that like it's 2024, and you still have people. I'm not talking like 90-year-old people that haven't been on an airplane in a while and don't know what they're doing. I'm talking about people my age or younger. That it's like they're completely and totally baffled by like, well, what do you mean I can't keep my machete inside of my pants pocket as I walk through the airport? You're like, I'm not allowed to carry this bazooka? And then you get stuck behind the person that goes through beep. Okay, they got to come back. They empty their pockets, but they don't empty everything out of their pockets. They go through beep. They come back. Oh, they got to pull out this other metal thing. Beep, go back, the belt. Beep, go back, the necklace. Beep, go back. It's like, dude, you lost your right to fly. You got to go home. Trip's canceled. So that's something that just drives me nuts. It happens all the time. And on the flip side of that, a bone to pick with TSA, get off my nuts when it comes to rushing me. Like I'm standing in line for 30 minutes while you're looking at IDs, and now you're trying to scurry me along here. Like, give me 4 more seconds so I can put my wallet back in my pocket and then let me move on to the area where I can set everything down. So that's pretty irritating and pretty frustrating, where it's like you can't have it both ways. You can't be really, really slow and have really huge lines and then also rush everybody along. This drives me nuts at home. When we have a bottle of soap or a bottle of lotion or a vessel that is holding sunscreen or something like that, or toothpaste, when it gets to the point where we have extracted 99.9% of the product inside of it, I feel we probably got our money's worth. I think I'm the minority in this house, because when we reach 99.9% of the use of the product, apparently we're just getting started. We got another 50% that we can find in there. And every time I reach for a soap or a lotion or a sunscreen, it's literally at the very end. And what ends up happening is the bottle's super light, so you go to reach for it and you knock it clean across the counter. It's so light, you sit there and you pump the soap or the lotion for 5 minutes and you get nothing. Then you have to go find the new one. And then my wife always has this knack of being able to do something to it, and then bloop, there comes out one last perfect portion. And to me, it's like, if the bottle's half empty, just throw it away, start over again. So anybody out there, any other guys or women or that are dealing with this, sit down, have a heart-to-heart with your significant other, and let them know when the soap is 99% gone, just let the bottle go. Let it go, and we'll buy a new bottle. Another pet peeve of mine is very poorly laid out grocery stores. I'm talking to you, Trader Joe's. I want to love Trader Joe's. I really do. But I just can't get behind it, because every time I go into one, and maybe it's not every store, but it's the ones that I've been into, which have been in Texas and in Arizona, they're always laid out really weirdly. And everybody that's in there is like crazy passionate about Trader Joe's. And then when you get to the checkout line, the person that is checking you out is just way too excited to be hearing about your day and what you have planned and what you plan on doing with the food that you're buying. And I just find the entire process to be insufferable. And to go along with that, most of the Trader Joe's that I've been to and most of the Whole Foods I've been to share another commonality, which is a really poorly designed parking lot and entrance and exit of this. I almost said entrance and exit of that. And that's something that drives me nuts. And I get it, like you have to deal with, city ordinances and you only have so much space or whatever, but figure it out. Your Trader Joe's, your Whole Foods, you're putting up shop somewhere. You got to have an easy way to get in and an easy way to get out. And stop being so insufferable. Both of you places. Stop it. And I will end on this as the last pet peeve. And this is maybe something that other dads can relate with. And I'll throw up the dad bat signal in the air to see if the other dads come running. But this has to do with and this has been since the day our daughter was born, every single time, and I hate to say every and always and never, but I think it is fair to say every single time that I go to sit down, if the rest of my family is awake, within 1 minute, I am going to be getting back up for some reason, to get something, to grab something, to have to fix something, something spilled, something whatever. So I'm surprised that I'm not better at squats in my workouts, because I am just mimicking that motion of standing up and sitting down in a chair and back and forth all day long, every day. And I think it's would be easier for me just to stand and then just wait until everybody's asleep before I can sit down. So that just drives me nuts. But it's part of being a dad, and I think other dads can relate. So I encourage you, other dads, just stand up. Every waking minute that you're up for the day, just stand up, and then you don't even have to deal with it, and it's one less pet peeve. All right, so thank you for listening to this week's episode. I wanted to do something silly and stupid, and I came across a bunch of this stuff when I was traveling with my family here over the last month or two, and I made some notes, and I thought, you know what, I think I should talk about this, because I can't be the only one that experiences some of these things, and gets frustrated or has a good laugh about it. So thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Story, Lesson, Advice podcast. I'll be back in a couple of weeks with the traditional episode with a story, a lesson, and advice. So thank you very much. This part of the Saturday is Saturday Media, lifestyle podcasts, book review podcasts, product review videos, cooking videos, and more, all in due time. So thank you very much for all the support, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.